Morning.
Good morning. Driving in, I thought I would have heard the little Booker T in the MG since Steve Cropper passed away.
Yes. I guarantee you Scheim has no idea who Booker T in the MG is.
I know who Booker T the wrestler was.
Can you play some of his tunes?
I can probably find his walkout music.
You probably would know Green Onions.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
Everybody knows Green Onions, but
I always take them off my plate.
Oh, I definitely know Green Onions. I know this.
Legendary guitarist.
All right.
I mean, played with the Blues Brothers.
He was around for a long time.
Yeah, and they backed up. They were like the Booker T and the MGs was the like the backup band for Otis Redding and Wilson Pickett and some. Wow, I'm bringing the music knowledge with this morning. Judd Sirott, I love it. I absolutely love it. So this team, we were talking the other day, needs to stop spotting their opponents a goal or two in the first period of these hockey games. Would you agree with that?
I would agree. I think they just need to get off to some better starts, Greg. I was thinking about it the other day. So, everybody, we hear about it all the time. You want to play a 60-minute game. But how a team plays in the National Hockey League in that first period, and yes, you'd like to have a lead, but it really sets the tone for the rest of the game. And the Bruins certainly did not get off to the start that they wanted to in Detroit. And in the big picture, especially with the injuries that they have, and they've got 4 defensemen that are out of the lineup, they have to play a certain way in order to be successful. If they stray from that, they're going to have some problems. We saw that the other night in Detroit, and they're not built, especially with the injuries, to outscore some of their problems.
When you look at this team and you talk about some of those injuries, especially on the defensive side, it seems like that a lot of goals that they give up comes from right in front of the goalie, right in the crease. So either they're not moving guys out of there or not bodying guys. What's the issue with them defensively in a lot of those goals that happen right in front of the goalies?
Well, I think some of the issues we saw the other night, it was puck management. You can't have turnovers in certain spots, or even the first goal, James Van Riemsdyk gets behind Andrew Peeke. That was one of the things that the coaches talked about in their pre-scout, that Detroit, as soon as they get the puck, they like to fly a guy out of the zone. They were able to spring James Van Riemsdyk. And, Wiggy, I don't know if you're reading the analytics, but if you look overall...
He's not.
No.
Well, you've been able to pick it up because basically the Bruins have allowed more high-danger chances than any team in the National Hockey League. But with the goaltending that they've gotten, and I understand Jeremy Swayman was not at the level that we had seen him throughout November, with the goaltending that they have gotten all season long from Swayman and Korpisalo, they're one of the best teams at denying some of those high-danger chances, but they've got to cut down on that amount. And I think part of that, at least the issue the other night, was about puck management.
We are, Scheim, talking this morning about, and Courtney during trending, about David Pastrnak, and probably not going to see him for tonight or the next 2 here. How long is that? What are you hearing about?
It's a total unknown. I think the only news that we got the other day, Greg, was that Marco Sturm said that Pastrnak was not slated to be on the ice, so that basically took him out of tonight's game against the Blues. And then Saturday you've got the Devils, and then the Bruins are heading on the road for a week. They're going to play 3 teams from the Central Division. My guess is that the Bruins, if he doesn't go on the trip, and hopefully he does, that he skates here in Brighton while the team is on the road, so you have him ready when they come back, because you've got a couple big divisional games. Yes, you'll face Vancouver, but you've got Ottawa on a back-to-back, and then Montreal just before Christmas before you close it out.
With Pasta being out, and obviously you're getting a lot of offensive production from Geeky, who would you like to see offensively step up and contribute more?
Love to see a little bit more from Elias Lindholm. I think he's actually gotten off to a decent start. Then he got hurt. But anytime you're out for a long period of time, it's going to take a little time to start to ramp up his game. But this was a guy, especially on the power play, and the power play has been such a significant piece for the Bruins this season. I haven't checked the numbers this morning, but they're somewhere in the top 5 or 6 in the National Hockey League, and he's a big reason for that. The way he's played in the bumper position, either as a guy who has set up other players like Morgan Geekie or David Pastrnak when he's been healthy, or scored himself. He scored all 4 of his goals on the man advantage this year.
Judd, Wiggy mentioned Morgan Geekie. Do you feel like this is just a hot streak for Morgan Geekie, or is he really developing into a legitimate top kind of goal scorer? I mean, he's been keeping pace with Nathan MacKinnon, which seems insane to keep up for over 82 games.
Well, it's funny you say that because when Nathan MacKinnon's name was brought up, to Morgan Geekie, he said, it is a little bit strange to hear my name along with his in the same conversation. It's hard to say across. I mean, we're almost at the 30th game of the season, and he's got 20 goals to this point. That's a long hot streak. He's been pretty consistent all season long. I think part of the issue for him, and he's talked about it, is when he shot the puck, those pucks have gone in, but he only averages about 2.5 shots per game. So can he put himself in a position, and I understand it's a little bit harder because the Bruins are still missing a couple of guys in their top six. How can you get some of those opportunities so you can give him more chances to shoot the puck? Because that release, that shot, David Pastrnak said he's got the best shot on the team by far. Give him some more of those opportunities.
Jim Montgomery back in town, I think, for the first time since he left tonight.
It is.
What Marco Sturm. What do you? How do you grade him? And I feel like he has been better than I expect, or at least the team has done better than I expected under him.
Grade, that's been an A. And you can hear it from the opponents. Having a chance to listen to some of the coaches from the Detroit Red Wings the other night, I think one of the things that really stood out for them was how hard the Bruins are playing for a guy like Marco Sturm, the system that he's tried to employ, and how often, and I understand it didn't work out for the Bruins on Saturday night, but he's getting the Bruins consistently, as much as possible, to play the same way. And that's garnered a lot of respect from the opponents around the league.
He's not afraid to call guys out. And I like that, and I think they need that.
I think, and players want that. And Wiggy, I don't know if it was the same when you were playing in the NFL. I think that's been refreshing. It's been his blunt honesty, his communication, but also he's got a lot of charisma. He's got a lot of personality. Guys like playing for him, but I think they've also appreciated the message and how he's tried to deliver it to them.
Yeah, that's the most important thing is honesty from your coach.
Judd, I would just on Montgomery. So he obviously had the greatest regular season in the history of the league in terms of points. And then in that offseason, with 1 year left to go in his deal, he entered the year as a lame duck. Was stuff percolating behind the scenes as it pertains to Sweeney and Montgomery? Because it was shocking how fast he left. He was fired, and then he was in St. Louis like within 24 hours. What was your take on how that ended and why it did like that?
Well, I'm trying to trace back the timeline. So his first season, he comes in, he leads the Bruins to the best regular season record of all time. They lose in the first round in 7 games against the Florida Panthers after the team had a 3-1 lead, including a lead late in Game 7 at TD Garden. Then the second season, I think, after the retirements of Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci, I think the Bruins surprised a lot of teams and made the playoffs. I think a lot of people were waiting, okay, finally the window is closed and the Bruins are not going to make the playoffs. And they did. The first round series, if you remember, was 7 games against Toronto. And I believe the narrative was whichever team didn't win that game, that coach was going to be gone. And Sheldon Keefe found himself in New Jersey. So then the next season, and keep in mind that my understanding is that Donnie Sweeney and the Bruins had offered Jim Montgomery a contract extension. The Bruins did not have a good training camp. There were a variety of reasons for that. You had the Swayman holdout. Brad Marchand was coming off 3 different surgeries. And I remember at the time that the Bruins made the coaching change, the GM had mentioned that we probably have 10 different guys who are off their game. You were also trying to bring in Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov. How would they mix into the group? The Bruins started 8-9-3, and I just think at that point, because they couldn't get the contract done, the start that they had gotten off to, the training camp that they had, that they decided to part ways.
When you look at this team, it's win one, lose one in these past few games. What's your biggest takeaway from like this recent stretch of games with this team?
Recent stretch of games. That's a really good question. I think it's trying to be mindful of the system that they need to play all the time, Wiggy, in order to be successful. Even when they're healthy, and I think this was one of the things that Marco Sturm had stressed, that even when they were healthy, the Bruins still have to play a certain way. And it needs to be tight checking. It needs to be defensive oriented. It needs to have good puck management. It needs to be ready to start on time in the first period. And if you stray from that, then it makes it a little bit harder on the Bruins. And I think that we've seen them here over this last 10-game segment where they've kind of cooled off a little bit. Maybe some of the injuries have taken hold that they've gotten away from that. It's hard.
They get a bit of an injury excuse.
But every team has it. You know, it's not an excuse. It might be understandable, and they have to be able to find a way. So I was looking at it tonight. So they're going to call up a defenseman here from Providence. This will be the 10th different defenseman that they're going to dress this season in the National Hockey League. And across a regular season, you might see a team in 82 games use 10 different guys. They haven't even reached the 30th game, and they're using the 10th different guy on the blue line. So that's a little bit of a change. And it's taken away from their ability. They have to defend more often because they're having a hard time exiting, or they're having a hard time clearing pucks out, or they're having a hard time playing in the system. But those are still things that you have to be able to compensate for. It's not easy. It's not an excuse. They've got to find a way.
And Charlie McAvoy is back on the ice.
He's skating, but
which is amazing to me. That was, I mean, in person, but watching it like slow-mo wise, it was awful.
I only saw that afterward. We did not see that, and we did not run that on the broadcast when I saw that puck hit him in Montreal. So I think it's a really good sign that he has started to skate. But I think when it comes to timelines for injuries, and you brought up David Pastrnak earlier, most coaches will tell you once that player joins practice, then you can start to see when a timeline comes. And speaking of injuries, and Wiggy, this is where I really need your help. So I'm doing some research on the Blues. They've got a guy out of the lineup. He is week to week after experiencing what the club calls, quote, scalding burns on his legs.
Oof.
So I'm wondering what kind of crazy injuries you heard of when you were playing in the NFL, because that one was new to me, and there are a few injuries like that around the NHL this year.
Wow, scalding burns on their legs. I
think there was some of that on a cruise ship.
Yeah,
if someone threw a scalding hot cup of coffee on you,
He was never injured in a game blocking.
No, never that. I got away from the blocking. But there was an NFL player for the Dallas Cowboys. It might have been Diggs' brother, the DB. Travion Diggs. He hurt himself. What did he do? He slip and fall in his house, or he was trying to put
he fell out of bed.
No, or the ceiling fell on him.
Really?
Yes. I think it was like the ceiling fell on him.
Was Steph and Cardi B above him?
I don't know. Like in this, there's been, you obviously scalding. Like when I think of scalding water or hot water, I think of like Kramer trying to sneak the hot tea into the movie theater.
I thought you were going to say you think of the McDonald's lady who won whatever amount of money that was, millions of dollars for the hot coffee that was.
Oh yeah.
There's a documentary.
No, but
about
the ceiling fell on Diggs, so it's like, what are you doing with hot coffee on your lap? I guess.
Well, the worst one is Paxton Crawford in spring training with the Red Sox when he rolled over on broken glass because there was another a friend in the room.
The random broken glass in the area.
No, we're going to see Jack Hughes. Actually, the Devils are coming into town. They're missing one of their best players, Jack Hughes. He got hurt out at a restaurant with a steakhouse with some glass. I don't know what? I don't know how he got hurt. Eetu Luostarinen in Florida, who's one really good player, won a couple of Stanley Cups with the Panthers, out injured because of a barbecue incident.
Yes, the barbecue incident. Like what? Which?
This is like Jason Pierre-Paul with the fireworks.
Oh,
yeah.
He tried to light the propane with a lighter.
Probably.
Man,
who was that? Who was that idiot radio guy that hurt himself with the puppy gate?
I don't know who that was. Almost died. All right, Judd.